Hey y'all. Well, it's November. That means Thanksgiving is coming up. And one of the things that I spoke about in the video about what I will and will not can again, one of the things that I wanted to can, or my future canning projects, is I wanted to make cranberry juice. And I was waiting for November when all the cranberries come in and they get lower in price. So it's November. I'm going to make my cranberry juice. I'm doing this, I'm going to make it unsweetened. So it's going to be really tart. I'm making some to send to my mother because she gets UTIs fairly often and she's diabetic. So she can't have that stuff you buy at the store that's full of sugar. You can find some that's unsweetened, but it's hard to find and it's expensive. So I'm going to make her some and keep it on hand for my family or friends who might need it also. Because you can sweeten it after the fact with whatever you want, but for the people that are diabetic, it's really hard to find them. And I'm also going to be, but I'll make this a separate video so that I don't get all confused. I'm also, since I've got the cranberries, I'm going to make a cranberry rum sauce. And this will be for Thanksgiving, and I'm going to can that up. So they're both in this complete book of home preserving by Ball. The cranberry rum sauce is page 180. And the cranberry juice is page 191. So I'm going to get everything set up and I'll show you what I'm doing. All right, I bought these cranberries at Costco and they had 2-pound bags for $2.99, which I thought that's not bad. And they feel really good. So I bought 3 bags. I will probably use about a whole bag to make the cranberry rum sauce because it calls for 8 cups. The cranberry juice is easy because you just measure it out. You measure out your cranberries after you've sorted and washed them, and you use equal amounts of cranberries and water. So it's real simple. So what I'm going to do now is just sort through these. And I just want to make sure that they're all firm. They're not soft. They're not bruised. And any that are like this one, see how soft it squishes. I'm going to take that out because I don't want that in there. And just go through. And I found it, you just kind of roll them. It's easy to find the ones that are soft. Now when I can see it, I don't even need to do anything. So I have 6 pounds of cranberries to go through. So what I'm gonna do is go through, sort through them, wash them, and then I'll measure out what I need for my cranberry rum sauce. And then I'm gonna go ahead and measure out the rest, add an equal amount of water, and get that one going because that one is going to need to strain after it's cooked for at least 2 hours. So I want to get that one going while I work on the other for the next video. But let me get this all sorted out and then I'll bring you back. All right, so after measuring out the 8 cups that I needed for the cranberry rum sauce, I had 21.5 cups that were good, and then I threw away a fair amount that weren't at their peak. So I have 21.5 cups of cranberries and 21.5 cups of water in a deep stainless steel pan. Now I'm going to take this over and bring it to a boil on medium-high heat, and then I'm going to reduce the heat, boil gently, stirring occasionally until the cranberries burst. It says about 5 minutes. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Well, it's just starting to simmer, and a lot of these are already starting to pop. And if I'm quiet, you might be able to hear them, because I'm just hearing this pop, pop, pop. So I'm going to let this come to the full boil, bring it down to just the gentle boil, and I'm going to let this simmer until all of these berries have popped, and then we'll start straining it. Alright, so I have got this, I boiled it, and almost all of the berries have popped. Let me see if I can lift this a little bit closer so you can see. And the liquid is just a gorgeous cranberry, of all things. Isn't it funny how that works? But it's just beautiful. And again, I am not going to sweeten this because I'm doing this primarily for my mother to have this, and with her diabetes. The ones that you buy are just full of sugar. And even the natural sugars can add up, especially when you're trying to drink this for a health reason. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it into a jelly strainer, and I've lightly dampened the bag. And I've got it over a pretty good sized pot because I've got quite a bit here, and hopefully I have enough room. We'll find out. It could be a mess. Oh well. Alright, so I'm just going to get started. And I think the easiest way is just to scoop it out and pour it in. And I don't know if you can see the color of that juice. It's just beautiful. I mean, I guess it's not a whole lot different from if you were making jelly and you boiled the fruit to get the juice. I don't make jelly because we really don't eat it. So I'll make jams, but I don't make a lot of those because we just don't eat much of that. But we're just straining out all of the solids. And I'm just going to keep doing this until it's either the bag won't hold anymore and I have to do something else, or until I get it all done. So I'll bring you back when I'm finished. Alright, so it's been about 2 hours that I have let this drip. So now I'm going to get the canner started to heat. I've got my jars and lids and rings washed. And I'm going to transfer this back to a stainless steel pot, and I'm going to heat it. This needs to go to 190 degrees, and then it has to stay there for a while before I put it in the jars. So I'm going to get everything heating up. I'm going to get this transferred over and started heating up, and then I'll show you the next step. Alright, so I've got my jars heating over there in my water bath canner. I've got the cranberry juice that has been strained is now over there heating to 190 degrees, and I need to keep it at 190 for 5 minutes. Then I've got this whole bunch of smushed cranberries. But this won't go to waste. This is going to go to my chickens, and they're going to have an early Thanksgiving, and they're going to love this. So I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to get my cranberry juice heated up, and then once it comes up to 190 degrees and stays there for 5 minutes, then I'm going to put it in the jars and get it in the canner. So I'll bring you all back when we get that to that point, and I'm excited. This is for my mother, and I've talked to her about it, and she's really happy because it's really hard to find cranberry juice that is not full of sugar, other juices, and for a diabetic, that's a big deal. Well, here we go. The jars are heated. They've been in the canner staying hot. The cranberry juice has been heated to 190 and then kept there for 5 minutes. And I skimmed off some foam, but there's more, so I'm not going to worry too much. I've got my lids, my flats, heating up in a pan of hot water. So let's get going. I'm going to start grabbing jars and getting them filled. Isn't this beautiful? It's just what you would expect cranberry juice to look like. Again, this is not sweetened. It's pretty tart, but you can sweeten it however you'd like when you're ready to use it. And that's what I choose to do. And we want to fill this to a 1/4 inch headspace, which is pretty high up. So I have my little measure here. Need just a touch more. Perfect. Okay. Now I'm going to take, and this is probably repeating for a lot of you, but it might help somebody. So we are going to clean just the rim, and since this isn't oily, we're going to just use water, but hot water. But if this were meat, I would be using vinegar. So I wiped just the rim, and now I'm going to run my finger just to make sure that there's no imperfections there that could prevent a seal. Put on my lid, my ring, finger tight, and it's hot. And this will go in the canner. But look at how beautiful that color is. I'm really excited about this because this is one of those things that if you need it, you don't want to drive 30 miles into town to get it. In the case of my mother, she no longer drives, so it will be nice for her to just have this in her cabinet if she needs it, and I hope she doesn't, but if she needs it, it's there. Again, 1/4 inch headspace, and this tool is great for debubbler, but it's also marks how much headspace, and that would be 1/4. perfect. And there goes my hound dog. Okay, finger tight in the canner. I'm going to go ahead and get these filled, and when I'm all finished, I will come back and show you how many jars I've got. Well, I'm not sure I could have done any better if I had planned it that way. I started out with 21 and a half cups of cranberries and 21 and a half cups of water. My canner holds 9 pint jars, and I got 9 pints plus 1/2. That makes me really happy because I'm not wasting any space in the canner, and I have some to try out. So I'm getting the canner going. I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and it needs to process for 15 minutes, but because I'm at high altitude, I add 10 minutes. So I will process for 25 minutes. I will turn the canner off and kind of open the lid some, and then I will let it sit for a good 5 minutes, maybe more. And I will show you what it looks like when it's all finished. Well, the cranberry juice has processed for 25 minutes, and then I turned off the fire and took the lid off and let it sit for 6-7 minutes. So now I'm going to take the jars out and we'll have a look. There it is. It's beautiful. The water in the canner's completely clear, and these jars just look gorgeous. So I got 9 pints of unsweetened cranberry juice, and I'm really excited about this. So they came out beautiful, and I tasted some of the excess. It's exactly what I want, and it really is not hard at all. So I encourage you, if you want your own cranberry juice, sweetened or unsweetened, you make it yourself. It's not difficult, and right now's the time to go get those cranberries because this time of year they're usually on sale. And the recipe says just add sugar to taste, and that's what we're gonna do, except we're gonna do it after the fact. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. And thanks for watching Vickie's Country Home. Just look at these beautiful jars. I'm so excited to have this on my shelf. Well, thank you again for visiting, and we will talk again soon.